Sup YouTube, welcome back to another video documenting my journey to legend. Today's battles are going to be featuring a team of my own creation, I can confidently say. The same triple shadow team as the previous video, rocking a Dragonair lead, Dusclops as the pivot, and Machoke as a surprisingly solid closer. And I'm going to teach you how to play this game to sheer somewhat perfection. Before I get started with the battles, I want to give a massive shout out and thank you to King GBL for supporting the channel. He's a fellow content creator. Definitely go subscribe to his channel. His videos are incredibly enjoyable. This video is going to be a bit of a longer one, so kick back, relax, grab a snack, and without further delay, let's get into these battles. And the first battle is going to start off with a bang. There it is. In comes Oxford U. Spoiler, I lose this matchup, but I should have won. Ox, if you're watching, no shade. I love your videos, bro. I love the channel. But I think I crucially misplayed this. So far, doing pretty good, right? Any Vigoroth user is tempted to throw the Body Slam immediately because they do outpace the Dragonair, and it's typically safe to catch onto Dusclops as it is a good safe swap. Here, we're either going to get a shield advantage or we're going to retain swap. We retain swap, which is pretty good because now I can align the Machoke onto the Vig, even though the Vig has 2 counters of energy, I believe, but now we're sitting pretty. And this is also going to be a video in using your shields. Look at my Machoke getting dastardly low. I waited a turn so that he wouldn't be able to catch on what I was thinking might be like a Golbat. But no, in comes the Como-O. And had I thrown my moves on proper timing, I would have gotten to that cross chop in the end and won that game. So dude, I almost had you.
You almost had me? You never had me. You never had your car.
But all jokes aside, nothing but respect to the Ox. And now we're up against Zerfelro, so this day was not treating me right. Yo, Niantic, I am not that good of a player, man. Like, let me catch some W's. Nidorina lead with a Dragonair, Shadow Dragonair as a safe pivot. Again, I tried to chunk it because this matchup isn't as good as you would think it is. Lucky for me, he doesn't shield his Dragonair, he lets it go down, and now he comes in with Zweilos, the German dragon. And we're gonna get some moves off here. He does shield up the first one, so again, a much more skilled battler than I am. Clearly knows when to use his shields, unlike moi. But I'm in a much better position because I can align my Machoke onto the Zweilos, and I was thinking that they would try to catch, which is why I didn't throw my move because I didn't need to. And now I can come in with the Dragonair, and I am going to get outpaced here, which was maybe a slight misplay. Because I'm not going to reach this move. I was hoping that I would, but I kind of needed those Dragon Breath damages. And here I'm going to... oh, I thought I was building up to the CMP, but I don't. I guess he goes 1 over. I guess I could have thrown the cross chop there, but honestly, it doesn't matter at this point. I just need to watch for a snipe. There it comes, and we send off the dynamic punch, take out the Zweilos, and I have just enough health to take out the Nidorina. So GG's, man. Golbat lead. Pretty difficult lead if they build up to the Shadow Ball. I think I showcase one battle here where I do tank the Shadow Ball. You can't actually tank it. If you have a good enough IV Shadow Dragonair, you will survive a Shadow Ball like I do right there. So this is the battle. What do you do in that case? We got a shield, right? Just hope that they don't catch your move. Try to throw in between their wing attacks so that they don't catch a move. And here we full send the Poltergeist because they only had 1 shield to their name. And even if they did shield, I could shield again and get off another Poltergeist. I figured if they have 2 counters already to a Machoke or to a fighter, then Machoke possibly has a lot of play. And that's exactly what I'm going to try to find out here. Oh man, this is another lesson in using your shields. Yes, I can tank the Poison Fang. No, I do not want to. And now look how incredibly low I am. And my only hope is that I can full send the dynamic punch because I'm not going to get the 2 moves. Had I shielded that Poison Fang, I would have had a lot more health. I could have gone to the back-to-back cross chops, plus the counters would have KO'd. So, a lesson in using your shields. Here I try to make a catch, but Hakumo-O doesn't win CMP. So, typically your opponent will overfarm. I am gonna full send the Poltergeist, I think. Okay, no, I don't. I don't because we're up 2 shields, right? And so I'm hoping that they wanna call a bait. And here I'm gonna call a bait because I am low enough. I do survive because those IVs are coming in clutch. And we do at least get off a Ice Punch, which is pretty nice. And I'm going to come back in with Dragonair because I have no other option. And I went for the over thinking that they wouldn't CMP since they didn't in the first one. And here they go for the 1 extra. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm just calling all the wrong moves. But at this point, I can let Dragonair go. Yes, I am going to karate chop down this Dusclops. And you're going to see just how great of a closer Machoke really is. We CMP on the Body Slam, where I thought is where they would throw. They do, and now I think I'm going to overfarm just a little bit more, or maybe full send this Body Slam immediately. Okay, I go for the CMP again on the next one. So they were at 9, they threw at 10. This takes them out. I will outpace the Hakamo'o to another cross chop. I need to throw immediately. Their switch timer isn't up yet. Machoke's going to take out the Hakamo'o. In's going to come to Dusclops, and he's going to get countered down or karate chopped down. If you're enjoying the video so far, definitely leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Shadow Dusclops, what do we do? I believe I try to make a catch. My opponent went for the 1 extra, but still throws. But they threw an Ice Punch. So I stay in. Do they throw another Ice Punch? I figured because I had gotten so much Dragon Breath damage on it, I was just going to go straight Ice Punch. I comfortably survive another Ice Punch here, which is why I don't shield. And they throw another Ice Punch. They come in with the Vig, which is a pretty nice catch, but the timers are misaligned, and I'm hoping... Oh, no, actually, no, I do go down. I think I'm going to come in with the Dragonair, though. Or maybe I come in with the Machoke, I forget. Okay, so I come in with the Machoke, shield once. Oh, wow, never mind. Look at me. I'm not using my shields. I figure maybe they have another response to the Machoke in the back. So I'm going to come in with the Machoke. I take out the Vigoroth. I'm going to come in with the Dragonair, hope that I can snipe. They shield, and because they throw a move and I have 2 shields, now I'm going to start shielding. 2 shielded Dragonair. Obviously not the highlight of this video in my opinion. I really do think it's Machoke, but 2 shielded Dragonair can go to work. I almost threw the Body Slam because I forgot that Piloswine was half ground, and we managed to take that game. I still had Machoke in the back just in case to do some karate chop damage. Again, another Vigoroth. I do the exact same thing. I come in with Shadow Dusclops. The reason I put in this video is because it plays out a little differently in the mid game. They come in with a Piloswine. What do you do against the ice types? Honestly, this one, Piloswine, is probably the biggest core breaker to this team if you can't align it onto Machoke. And even if you can, it's still difficult. They're going to farm me down. Right? What I should have done there, since I believe I shielded, oh no, they didn't shield. I should have baited twice. Build up to the Poltergeist, but bait. Because you'd rather have them throw energy than farm you down like they did right there. And here I'm expecting Machoke to have a lot of play, which it does until I see the Dusclops, right? A lot of these teams are ABA weak to fighting, which is why Machoke has a lot of play. If you do want to run this team for whatever reason, honestly, I think this is a really, really strong team. But if you do want to run it, I would recommend using Vigoroth instead of Machoke. Machoke gets just way too easily hard countered, as you're going to see here. And this is still playable. But I think what I needed to do was build up enough to CMP on their next move. Because I'm going to need that extra cross chop, that extra energy. And what I should have done there was thrown my move immediately to take out the Vigoroth, so that potentially I could have survived these Powder Snows and taken out the Piloswine. But obviously hindsight's 20/20, but you know, you need to be a lot more alert. Charge-a-Bug is pretty safe for this team. I don't believe they built up to 7, which is why I call this bait. And I am gonna build up to the Poltergeist and bait as well, I believe. I know they're gonna want to retain swap because I guess I didn't build up to the Poltergeist. Because the Charge-a-Bug has a pretty poor matchup against Dragonair. And so I want to keep the Dragonair aligned to the Charge-a-Bug. However, my opponent is going to shield once and farm me down. And now I can come in with Dragonair. I'm expecting, they don't get off a move, but I'm expecting the Ice type in the back. How do we deal with Celio? At least get off this damage. You still have 2 shields to your name. Charge-a-Bug can only hit you with Discharge. It can't throw the Crunch, right? Obviously resisted. But it's not as bad as you think because Charge-a-Bug is incredibly glassy. It's not as bad as being aligned with a Ghost. Here I'm going to go for the Cross Chop, which was an accident. I should have gone for the dynamic punch just in case they don't shield, because that would have cost me. And I am going to shield this one move because I don't see the Celio getting to another move. They actually died with their move right there, which was pretty good for me. And they won't get to the back-to-back. I'm going to outpace or I'm going to farm them down. And I think they die as they reach the next move. So that was really lucky. Again, ice types are incredibly difficult for this team because Shadow Dusclops doesn't do as well against them. The reason I like rocking the Shadow, though, is because of Golbat. It does a lot more damage against Golbat. It does a lot more damage against Vig. And you can actually flip the Vigoroth matchup, which is insane. Chansey, you have no hope or prayer for Chansey. Again, I like calling the bait because most people against a Shadow are going to try to bait. Here, I was trying to catch and I accidentally mistimed it. So I do come in with the Dusclops. They did me a favor by not building up. I'm going to make sure they don't catch. I wait a turn to see their wing attack register before sending the Ice Punch. And they're going to come in with Hakamo'o once again. This Dragon type is incredibly annoying because especially against Machoke, those Dragon Tails chunk. Here I'm hoping that I can survive this Dragon Claw, but I forgot I got debuffed. If I wasn't debuffed, maybe I could have. I come in with Machoke to get an energy lead. I know I'm going to outpace it to the next Dragon Tail since they threw pretty much right away. They let it go. In comes Vigoroth. And I'm going to make a really stupid play that's going to cost me, I think. If I'm not mistaken. Or actually, is this a pretty safe... Okay, never mind. I thought in one of the matchups that I make, I try to make a fancy catch and lose all the energy on Dragonair. Up next, we have a Dragonair lead. How do you play this? Much like the Vigoroth lead, you try to catch. So you see my finger right close to the Dusclops, and we successfully make the catch. It's not I have a pretty good ranked Shadow Dragonair, so I'm not going to win the mirrors. Whereas my Dusclops Shadow has a slightly higher attack, so it does win some of the mirrors. And again, I'm building up. They have feint attack. I think this madman calls my bait. No, okay, so they shield. And we're going to get to one more Ice Punch. I just didn't want them to farm all the way down. Or if they do farm down, at least I get some damage off. I have an Aqua Tail loaded on the Dragonair. I'm going to throw it almost immediately. Oh no, I do throw it immediately. And they CMP. If they let this go through, which they do, I think I'm going to let Machoke handle the rest of this. Again, Machoke is going to try to close out this game. How can we ruin this? At this point, I need to start using shields. I am going to farm this Dusclops all the way down. They let me, which is kind of nice. I throw a move off immediately because I don't want to take any Dragon Breath damage. And in the back is a Vigoroth. And now I know I can outpace to the back-to-back dynamic punches. A Cross Chop only does about 60%. It probably would have been fine, but just on the off chance that, you know, they have a really good IV one, I didn't want to take that risk. And we take that game. Next up, Hakamo'o lead again. This one is kind of annoying. So I try to do the exact same thing. I think they come in with a Chansey. Yes, here comes the bane of my existence. The most rotundo Rapunzel that I've ever seen. This boy thick. So what do? I sped up these battles because I'm not gonna make you guys go through all this shit. Get off as much damage as you can, come back in. I expected them to come back in with a Hakamo'o, and so I threw the body slam. I didn't throw the body slam immediately because I wanted to at least guarantee a shield. And now I think I'm gonna come back in with Dusclops because I figured this is a pretty popular team. ABB normal, dragon type in the lead, and 2 normals in the back. So I'm figuring, and I kind of don't want to take this out, which was kind of my mistake, because I don't want Chansey to come back in and get a massive farm. Luckily for me, my opponent waited out my switch timer, otherwise I would have been screwed. I do save the Ice Punch, and that's going to come in kind of clutch. I'm going to farm up until just before they reach their next Psychic, and I'm going to CMP with the Cross Chop to force them to make a decision because I know that I can outpace a Vigoroth. They shield, so now I'm going to shield, and I have just enough energy to make it to the dynamic punch on the CMP. This was such a beautifully played game. I'm not going to lie, and I come back in with the Dusclops to take out the Chansey that has just enough health to be taken out by a nice punch. And that was GG's. What an awesome battle. All right, Dusclops in the lead. Again, really tricky. I try to catch because we make it at the same time. Here I guess I tried to throw, since I figured they wouldn't CMP since they lose. I tried to play this out a little differently. You survive a regular Ice Punch from a non-Shadow. And here I make a catch because I will get outpaced. Luckily for us, we do make the catch. At this point, Dusclops is pretty low in terms of health. Here comes another anti-fighter. Can you guess what's in the back? Most possibly the Vigor. So here I'm just trying to whittle it down. I don't really need to build up to the Poltergeist. I don't really want it to shield. Fun fact, that wasn't undercharged. That is actually how much the crunch does, which is pretty insane. Dusclops is pretty thick even as a Shadow. We CMP on the body slam. I'm going to force them to make a decision because I would like a shield advantage. They do shield. And what you're going to see is the most asinine play that I've ever done in my GBL career. Actually, this is a lie. This is probably one of them. I don't shield. This whole video I've been hounding how you should be shielding your moves. Why didn't I shield? I didn't think that they built up enough to the discharge. Hindsight, had they had X Scissor, they would have thrown the X Scissor at the Dragonair, which was in X Scissor range. But like an idiot, I thought way too much about it. I saved the shields for next season, and we lose that game. But again, completely winnable game, which is why I'm showcasing this team, because I make a lot of misplays, but this team is incredibly strong. And I do think it is my own creation. It started off as a Though technical team. Also shield the Dazzling Gleam if they build up to the Dazzling Gleam, because I did get gleamed once and it was not nice. I try to make a catch on the next one because this energy on Dragonair is going to be useful. I think they come in with Hakamo'o. We know how this plays out, but it originally started as the Celio Dragonair Machoke line that Though used to reach Legend. I forget what season, whatever season Evolution Cup was available. I didn't have a good enough Celio, and I figured Dusclops could do about as well as Celio did in some of those matchups, but it didn't work as well for me in the lead as it does as a safe swap. It is a killer safe swap. How do you take out a Celio? I've been hounding that this whole video. Stick around to the last battle. I'm going to show you how to do with it. I have like a 30% win ratio against ice types. If you do see an ice type a lot, this probably isn't the team for you. I would highly recommend you use Vigoroth instead. And again, I'm going to rely on Machoke to close out this game. I don't think I try to make any fancy catches. They're building up to, oh yeah, I think they might have tried to catch. And here I can, not carefully, I can farm them down because Chansey won't make it to another move. It takes it like an eternity to make it to one. And here I'm going to shield up and I go for the dynamic punch. I guess it was kind of disrespectful, right? I could have gone for the cross chops. But I figured I had back-to-back, so why not throw him? How do you deal with Celio? Okay, swap into Dusclops. Because most Celio teams, most Ice-type teams have a Dusclops of their own in the back, and they don't want to come in at an energy disadvantage. You wait the turn so that they can't catch. That's why I threw the Ice Punch. They saw me wait, I guess, so they were going to shield either way, maybe. But this is the best play that you can do. Typically, they come in with a Dusclops or a Vigoroth to try to catch that Poltergeist. Don't let them. I do shield this up because I want to retain some health on this thing, and I can farm them down before they make it to the next Poison Fang. I'm going to swap out immediately into Machoke, expecting the Vig in the back. They're staying. I can tank a body slam. Celio hits, even though it's a Shadow, actually it probably hits a little harder than Vigoroth. I'm going to wait for them to throw a move. I'm going to throw one cross chop. I can't throw the dynamic punch. I need this energy. And you're going to see that these IVs are going to come in clutch because we just barely managed to farm down. They're at the one. They're going to have to use their shield here. In comes Dragonair. I count to just before they make it to a body slam, I believe. And I think they die with the move right there. So that's about as close as I've been able to make it with this team against an ice type. Again, I think this is a really, really strong team. 2 of 3 of these mons are viable in the Open Great League to an extent in limited metas. So if you want to build up a team like this and you want to still be able to use these mons outside of the Evolution Cup, build a Vigoroth. I didn't want to use a Vigoroth because it's ranked #1 and your boy's not about using the most meta mons. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Definitely leave a like if you haven't already, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.